Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of That's Hot Pod. I'm your host, Tam, here with my other host, the cool and very well dressed Christian.
Hello, everyone. All right.
Today, we're here to discuss season 2, episode 1 of the Rachel Zoe Project. Christian, what are your thoughts on the episode? The first episode is where the first part we see is that they're in a new studio. They have moved out of the garage and they have updated to a professional office space, kind of like a
Yes.
loft. And Rachel says, new studio, new attitude. And I just became a freaking biznatch because everybody's moving upstairs.
Yes. Because they were giving her hell just because they didn't want to move up to a stair. So it was like a loft, but it also had like this mezzanine above. And that's where like all the actual like office work, admin stuff was supposed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, Taylor and Brad, well, Taylor especially, but Brad was just happy not to be on Taylor's bad side. So he, sticks up with her. And,
Mm-hmm.
they're just being bratty and downstairs. And they ended up moving their desks downstairs in protest. And they're like, I don't want to work upstairs with Marissa.
Yeah.
And they're like, no offense, Marissa. And then we get introduced to a couple of new players in this season. We meet Jordan, who's a new intern. And there were a couple other ones, but I feel like Jordan plays the most like important role this season,
Yeah.
like as a new person.
And has the most camera time.
Yes.
Because she is like basically the new mannequin because she's skinny and has no boobs. So they no longer need Taylor's services. They're using Jordan. And that becomes a point of contention because Rachel is like making little side comments and
Mhm.
Taylor starts to take it very personally. Obviously, she's like an insecure person just in general. So making like little jokes or saying things about her, anything that is not in 100% positive light, and even sometimes then she'll just be annoyed, like she doesn't want to hear anything about herself. So them saying
But
that,
but also I think like as a boss and these were different times, obviously we lived through them. But
Mhm.
it's not really like HR appropriate for Rachel to have said all this stuff about Jordan, having smaller boobs and that this is not going to fit Taylor because Taylor has big boobs and, obviously she has like, a little bit more weight. And Taylor's not even like large. She's just
Mm-mm.
like a
Not
healthy
sample size.
physique. Yes. And, Jordan is tall and slender. And of course, things are naturally going to fit her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the body comments are kinda par for the course in the fashion industry, but I think Rachel making specific comments about, like, Taylor being jealous or, "Well, Taylor's gonna be so mad that you're putting this on," is, like, a little bit extra, and maybe she was doing it to be funny, and in previous
Yeah.
situations with the camera not there, it might have gone off as, like, just a joke, but now the stuff being, like, enshrined for the public is, like, I could tell that a lot of that stuff was pissing Taylor off.
Oh, totally. Because then it's going to look like, well, it's putting words into Taylor's mouth that maybe she
Mhm.
didn't say. And
Yeah.
then also making it awkward because then, Jordan's like, oh, well, what did Taylor say about me? Does she really
Mhm.
not like me because I'm skinny or whatever?
Yeah.
And then it also shows us, like, oh, Taylor is really sensitive about her body image.
Yeah, and her whole situation.
Yeah.
The studio is full of clothes, so it makes me
Already.
think, like, how the hell were y'all fitting all that in the garage?
Yes. They were not.
There is, like, a little bit of a situation because the Dior was dropped off at the Chanel. Like, how is this even happening? Who's
That's why I don't understand, like, some of the things that happened, like, how did that happen? Especially with, like, what courier service would do that, and how would they get it to the wrong address? Was the Chanel
Mhm,
in the wrong box?
mhm.
Maybe, or is the wrong address on the box? So many different things that definitely had to be, like, made up drama because, like, how does it happen?
And then you're just able to call the Chanel boutique and tell them that they have the wrong box and, like, "Oh, somebody's gonna get it." Like,
Right? And
it
then
doesn't it doesn't
at first they were asking, it's like, "Oh, is that something that you can bring up?" Like, why would Chanel take the time out of their, sales and whatnot to bring you this Dior gown that got delivered to them?
Yes, that was like, "Oh, well, can you bring it?" Like, "No, girl, we can't. Send one of your
Yeah.
minions down here to pick it up."
Yes.
This is regular business hours. And then
Yeah.
Rachel, just one of her iconic phrases for the show is like, "I died, I died." So this time they're going through the dresses and she's kind of upset because it's a recession and the designers are sending less stuff because but it's like she's the only person in America that's not computing to, that we're having a financial crisis. Like she don't get it. Because in her
Mhm.
world, everything's still fine, they still shopping, everything's still going, all her friends still rich. So she's
Yeah.
like looking through the rack and I'm not dying over anything.
Yes. She actually calls a meeting and just, like, lets them know just, like, how dire it is that she was not dying without any of these gowns.
Yes, and she's like, "We shouldn't be dress begging right now." And it's
Yeah.
like, that's kinda you guys' whole job because 'cause y'all refuse to purchase, as Taylor said in the season 1.
Oh, yeah.
So you do gotta
And
beg for everything.
she even mentions in the show just, like, how because of the financial crisis and, you know, designers are less willing to send their garments to any stylist or anybody without, having it being promised, it is gonna be worn for XYZ situation on
Mhm.
this person at what time, and the press coverage is gonna get because otherwise that's just another incurred expense for no reason.
And as far as what we saw in the first season and what makes way more sense to me as a fashion person, but maybe the
Mm,
average wouldn't understand that. This lady has racks on racks on racks of dresses, and she's already told you that they don't pay for anything. So that is a bunch of designers all waiting for a maybe chance that she
yep,
might wear it. And the stuff is just sitting in her showroom. She doesn't
yep,
have 100 clients to dress. She has maybe what, over like 4 or 5 at most at any given
yep,
time. So you're waiting and hoping that your dresses end up on Anne Hathaway, Jennifer Garner, Deborah Messing, Eva Mendes, or Anne. Like, you don't have that many chances, and there are not that many events. So for Rachel, that's kind of her standard of business. But then when things change financially for the designer, she's not being cognizant of like, oh, they can't have thousands of, or like they said in season one, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of dresses just sitting in the studio. That doesn't make sense for anybody now.
right, and was it this episode or a previous episode where even they had to do their selections of bags? I believe it was the last season, actually, but they were able to select so many bags to potentially use for a fitting, and the rest they had to send back because they had to be, utilized or sent out to other stylists.
Yes, and then she was like even Brad was telling her, like, "This is not a real edit, like, you're keeping everything." And she's like, "Well, why can't we?" Like, "No, I'm not editing that, I'm not editing that." And it's, "Girl, you only have 5 people to dress, why do you have 12 bags?" Like, some of these bags that you have don't even go with the looks that you're styling right now, it's just that you like them personally.
Yes, and then that just keeps those bags out of the pool to be selected then by another stylist for
Mhm,
whatever
mhm.
red carpet.
I think that whole era definitely changed the styling pool game because now people act very stingy with the styling pools. And now it's
Mm,
almost like you're not even gonna really pull anything for free unless you're like a A-list celebrity, like a Beyonce or something like that. Otherwise, everybody wants a styling pool fee. They want you to pay your own shipping. They want you to go the extra mile. And then they want to know full details about what the look is going to be used for, the dates of the event. Like it's not just when I was an intern, when we went to fit 'em, it would be like, oh, they're sending me down the street and I have a rack like this and I'm like pulling it because I'm going to go pick up stuff from her showroom and take it over here. That's not happening no more. They want to know specifics.
yes, and it makes sense because, it is just more expensive of them sending things out, whether or not it's a sample or actual, like, inventory that they have, but,
Mhm.
everybody's tightened up their purses and they need assurances it's gonna be seen. Otherwise, it's
Yeah.
just, like, wasted money.
Wasted money and I guess time because could you imagine if like how Rachel is always in a last minute war of the world situation with the dresses and then you have let's say 3 Dior dresses there and you're only going to pick one for let's say Anne Hathaway. Those other 2 dresses may have had an opportunity somewhere else with like maybe even a lesser celebrity but still they would have maybe been seen at the same event on the same red
Mhm,
carpet but they couldn't cuz you had them. Like it doesn't make sense.
unfortunate.
The introduction of Marissa was kind of, like, random. They didn't really talk a lot about, like, why Rachel needed an assistant or for what. And a
'Cause
certain
we've seen her
point
previously, it's just, like, now
yeah.
she's being seen more so, like she's like, "I want my scream time too."
Yes, I guess that's what it is. And I thought it was
Yes.
kinda mean in the whole upstairs thing, how she's just up there, like, looking down on them, and Taylor is blatantly, like, not holding back at all, saying, "I don't wanna be up there with her. It's hot. It's this, it's that." Like, it's just a subpar working environment, and she deserves to be up there because she's new.
Mm-mm.
It seemed really, really just odd. And then I wanna know, are Rachel and Roger gaining money or losing money? Because they have left their Hollywood Hills home and now they're in an apartment, which is very similar to the Kim K and Sierra condos of previous reality TV time.
Imagine that they probably sold it, but also because they were working out of their home and shots were taken of it, I imagine, for privacy reasons, they also didn't want, their house filmed.
Mm,
And so, like,
okay.
it could have also just been a set for them to use, but also it could have been, like, promotional for this, like, real estate person. It's like, "Oh,
True.
hey, like, you can rent out we can give you this loft and you can pretend it's yours, or you can even live there. Can we get, featured?"
Mhm.
Yes, because
Okay.
that was kinda like, "Oh, we're just in a new spot." And it's funny because they had that whole thing about, like, refurnishing their home previously with Fendi Casa.
With Fendi Casa, for you to
Yes.
be in a new apartment is like,
Yeah.
and where's that furniture? So we may have been right about the whole
Yes.
furniture being pulled, like styling
Mhm.
pulls for the L shoot. Listen,
Yes. or they sold
You
it
know the game.
on eBay.
I'm mad I missed that eBay listing, but I feel that Rachel though would never sell anything like at a win for an eBay user like myself. It would always be grossly overpriced.
No, probably.
Yeah, she's not dying over anything. She's saying they don't want to be dress begging. What else? Do you have any other notes from this episode?
No, I feel like this one, even when watching it, it was like not a stellar episode. Nothing really
Mm,
happened. Of course, they were setting the scene for what was to come, but and then later later in the season, it does get more interesting. But we'll save that for later. But it's just like this: we're in a new location with the studio, and we're in a new location with this random home switch,
mhm.
and yeah, it just like there wasn't much that happened. Yeah,
Okay.
and eventually,
Uh,
did we deal with the whole issue in this episode with the whole "it's Brad or I"?
that was episode 6 of
Yeah.
season 1, and
Yeah.
clearly that was just one of her mini temper tantrums because episode 1 of season 2, her and Red are all buddy-buddy going against the system.
Yes.
And I do agree with your point that he was just happy to finally not be on her bad side because there was,
Yeah.
like, a lot of hesitation with him, like, "I don't wanna do this. I don't wanna." And then when her whole brilliant idea to bring the desk downstairs to stick it to Rachel, which is like, "Why are you trying to stick it to your boss?" But
Yes.
she's doing that, and she can't even move the desk.
Right.
He ends up basically moving them by herself. Every step, she's like, "Ow, ow, I can't. Oh, this hurt me." And she's like falling on the steps. It's just,
I think with that, that totally sums up the like, what I was saying. It's just like, not much happens of importance. So this like random, like them being bratty and the death thing, like if that made it to airtime, then nothing really important happened in this episode.
yeah,
Yeah.
obviously, other than the whole like
Yes.
dress mix up debacle, which is fake.
Yeah.
Okay, kids. I feel like Rachel, she did not have like good boundaries or good employee culture
Yeah.
because what and then it made me the whole desk thing was like, "Okay, Taylor, were you guys just friends before this?" Because I couldn't imagine, again, like, trying to pick at my boss in that way, like, just blatantly going against their wishes, flat out saying no to them, like, "I'm not doing that." Then quit. I don't get that kinda, like, boldness. Maybe I'm a weak person.
Yeah. I don't know if they were friends previously, like, exclusively before, they were associates, but they were definitely, because even at Rachel in the first season, she's just like, she's proven herself, she's somebody that she could trust.
Mhm.
Taylor is just like her confidant. And that's why she does, whenever she's away in New York and she's there with Brad, she's like looking to Taylor. She's like, oh, I wish Taylor was here. But just because
Mhm.
she trusts her opinions and even maybe like Rachel's the one that is, obviously she is the aloof one. And Taylor has to be like the grumpy, bitchy one just to keep her grounded. But
I I
that
think
doesn't
that in
even.
their dynamic, it's like Rachel, yeah, plays aloof and plays confused a lot. I
Mhm.
will never get off the hill that that is a way for a person to like a sheet responsibility and to get out of doing things, just acting like incapable all the time. So
Yes.
Taylor ends up being the person that actually has to handle the moving pieces and actually make things happen. Just for Rachel to show up again, like in a frenzy, saying, "Oh, I'm coming undone. I'm coming apart. Taylor, please." And then Taylor has this rack of clothes and she's like, "Yes, yes, perfect. Oh, I die. Yes, I love."
Yes, and so, like, maybe that, there's it's speculative, but maybe that's why there was so much, like, resentment towards her. It's just
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
and at some point, she did say, she was doing her whole I don't know if it was itinerary or her, like, day or something, but she's like, "This is how it has to happen. You have to do this in order, and these are the times, otherwise everything's gonna be messed up, or, out of sequence because whatever
Mhm.
she was doing." So, maybe she did go and have to do everything all, like, tedium that maybe Rachel didn't wanna do, and then Rachel
Mhm.
gets, the accolades, she gets the notoriety. Maybe that's why Taylor, maybe resented her.
I mean, it seems like Rachel perhaps did the grunt work
Mhm.
because in one instance she says that her first styling job was with Britney Spears for the World Music Awards in like 1990 something. So maybe Rachel like got her name out there and did all of those things with like doing the styling pools and getting together the looks. And at this stage, you are just the assistant. That's all that your job here is to do. It's just to do the grunt work. And I
Yeah,
think that's Taylor's issue. And it comes up over and over again in different ways by her saying, like, oh, there's nowhere for me to grow here and there's nothing for me to do or like different. And it's because this is just the job.
that's
This is just the job. And then her saying about the product lines and stuff is like, okay, but would that even
those
be
were
enough
just
work?
yeah, those were potential just meetings, like, Nothing has gotten off the ground, and also, like, even with the development of things, she would only be able to take on so much, like, would she be the graphic designer? Would she be the developer, product development,
But
which
even when
role
she
would she
was
fit in?
explaining, like, her ideal role with it, she's like, "Oh, I was just supposed to be, like, helping with design and sourcing vintage things for it." So you would be doing the same thing that you do as a stylist, going around
Yep.
shopping, digging for stuff, looking around for stuff, and bringing it back to the meeting for people to say yes or no. Your job wouldn't change.
No. Yeah.
No, Taylor girl. She needs to come to
Yeah.
Jesus moment, and it's gonna happen very shortly in this season.
Yes, and we'll find out in a later episode. But that's all for episode 1, season 2. We'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you so
Don't
much for
forget to
watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave us a comment.
yes, see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.